What's going on, guys? Scottie Rapp here with Family First Life exclusive, FFL exclusive. Today, we're going to be going over the new member orientation. First and foremost, welcome to the team. Welcome to FFL. I'm going to teach you guys A to Z how to launch your business from a producing standpoint, from an agency standpoint, and I'm excited to get into it, guys. So, first and foremost, welcome to the team. Right, first thing we're going to go over is contracting and licensing. Okay, guys, this is after you passed your exam, right? So step number one, we know we have to book our exam through the Department of Insurance in our resident state. We have to get the study course from Family First Life from the admin, right? And then we study past the exam. Once we're licensed, we're going to go ahead and apply for our state license, our resident license in our state. They're going to issue us a license number, and then you're going to get what's called an NPN number, which is your national producer number. That's your national license that's going to validate your license for insurance all across the U.S. From there, you can go right back to NIPR.com and you can get any state license that you would like. All you have to do is follow the prompts, go to the state that you're trying to get licensed in, click on non-resident, fill out the application, pay the fee, and you can get licensed in any state as a non-resident right after your license in your resident state, guys. So next thing from there, we're going to follow the onboarding email from the admin, right? So once you have your NPN number, you're going to go through contracting. So whoever bought you on is going to put you back in a group chat with the hiring admin. They're going to send you a long email, and this is where you're going to go through contracting. You're going to request the carriers that we write business with. Once that happens, you're going to get welcome emails from the insurance companies, okay? And you're going to have what's called writing numbers with each carrier. When those writing numbers and welcome emails come in, you want to save them in a safe place, and you want to register your agent portal. That way you can log in, view your back office for each company, Americo, John Hancock, Prosperity, American Amicable, Aetna, AIG, to name a few, right? Register your agent portals, be very organized, and make sure you have your writing numbers in a safe place. Next thing you're going to do is go through the Knockout Bootcamp. You can go to knockoutagencies.com, right? That's knockoutagencies.com, and you can go through the bootcamp. You're going to sign the agent agreement, which you can ask your upline for. And another thing is, too, guys, you're going to want to set up a separate checking account for your commissions before you even go through contracting. And you're also going to want to create a separate email for, contracting as well, so you can move forward. I would usually put like your first name, last name at gmail.com or whatever you want to do. Next thing is, as you go through the boot camp, it's going to ask you to print your scripts. Make sure you print out, laminate all your scripts. Get familiar with knockoutagencies.com. That's our team agency website. There's a getting started tab. There's a quotes tab. There's the boot camp, everything in there that you need. And observe 10 presentations on Zoom before you start selling, right, guys? So we're on knockout. Agencies.com is the website. If you need the team link, you'll see that in our team chats. You're going to observe 10 presentations before you start selling, so you can get the flow of everything. And then you're going to set up your CRM, which is Ringy or Phone Burner or whatever you're going to use. Okay. Next thing here is being self-employed, what to expect. You have to set a schedule, okay? Here, you're your own boss, right? So you have to be super disciplined, super hungry. You have to show up every day, and you have to go make it happen for yourself. You won't have a boss here, meaning, as you go in day to day, you're going to have to self-motivate yourself, and you're going to have to stick to a solid schedule so you can maximize your results. So what's expected, guys? To set a schedule and be accountable in the team chats, and also be present on Zoom. We work on Zoom every single day from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. When you're on Zoom, you must have your camera on, right? And then once you see the main Zoom, there's about 20, 30, 40, 50 agents in the main room. And then there's breakout rooms. There's 15 of those. So in the main room is where everyone's going to dial their leads, okay? So they're going to call their clients. They're going to dial their leads. When they get a client to pick up the phone, they are going to press unmute on Zoom, and they're going to let everybody hear their intro, right? The point of the intro when you go into the conversation with the client is to get them to grab a pen and paper. That's what we do on the main room, right? We let everybody hear so we can critique and fix whatever you might not be doing right. And then once you get them to grab a pen and paper, right, you're going to say, hey, guys, I'm going to go in breakout room 5. You're going to go in the breakout room. And then from there, right, what you're going to do is go through the presentation, and any of the leaders and anyone else willing to help you, they're going to come with you and watch and observe you, and you're going to share your screen, and we're going to walk you through your first couple presentations. Also, when you get into a presentation, make sure you have the Telegram chats on, the FFL exclusive chat on, the FFL all or nothing chat on. And when you get into a presentation, go into those chats and say, hey guys, I need help in room 7. I need help in room 5. I'm presenting in room 2. Don't text your upline directly, right? Don't text one person like, hey, can you help me in this room? Drop it in the team chat, because someone is going to be able to come help you if that person that you wanted to reach out to is busy. Next thing here is understanding how taxes work, right? So this is not W-2, this is 1099. Okay, so you're self-employed here, meaning when you get paid commissions from the insurance company, they're advancing you 9 months up front, right, on a direct pay. And then from there, you're not taxed on that money. So what you have to do is get a CPA, get an accountant, so you can start keeping track of your commissions. And then you're going to file your taxes every April, right, and see what you owe. So you're going to pay taxes once a year, or you're going to do it quarterly. If you have a CPA, that's probably how they'll set you up. And remember, guys, the more money you spend on your business for leads, for licenses, for CRM systems, for ads, for funnels, all of that stuff is going to deduct your taxable income, right? So if I make $100,000 this year, but I only spent $10,000 on my business, I'm going to get taxed on $90,000. The goal is, guys, for you to make a lot of money, but also spend a lot of money on your business. Because if you bring that 10,000 up to 50,000, say you bought a new suit, you went to Starbucks with the client, you bought coffee, you bought an office, right? There's so many different things that you can write off as a business expense: a new laptop, a new iPhone, right? All of your CRM systems, all your licenses, every time you buy leads, those things are tax write-offs. So you can deduct that off of your income, which lowers your tax threshold, which allows you to pay less taxes. So you have to be very cautious of that. Keep all of your money in a safe place. When you make money, don't go spend it, right? Don't go blow through the money. Save it, reinvest it back into leads, and keep your momentum and your activity up. Be on Zoom 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night in the beginning. That's how you're going to build a momentum here in the business. That's how you're going to go through a lot of presentations and help your first 5, 10, 15, 20 families, and then rack up and then reinvest. And then that's how you get yourself in a better position over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. This is an eat what you kill business. You have to have that mentality. You want to eat, you have to go kill, right? You have to learn the skill set. This is a skill set driven business that requires a lot of discipline. So there's going to be days where you don't want to get on Zoom. There's going to be days where you make 600 phone calls and you don't make a sale. You might not have a sale for 2-3 days in a row. Guess what? That's part of the game. That's what every top producer goes through here in this business. So you have to come in aggressive. You have to have the right mindset. You have to be tough, and you have to show up on Zoom, and you have to go change your life, because that's what you came in here for, right? So remember, there's ups and downs in the business, but the real professionals here, they're level across the board. They don't let their emotions get too high. They don't let their emotions get too low. They're even keeled regardless of the good days, the bad days. They come in, they show up, and they make it happen, because nothing will be given. Everything will be earned. A set schedule, accountable in the team chats, reach out to your leaders if you need help, utilize your resources, your teammates, and be present on Zoom every day. If we don't see you on Zoom, we can't help you. If you're not presenting in a room and you're not unmuted, we can't listen to you. We can't help you. So on Zoom, guys, make sure you're unmuting in the main room, right? Make sure you're going into a breakout room when you get someone to grab a pen and paper, a client, and then make sure that you're open to feedback and we can get you guys your first 5-10 presentations and get you guys on the scoreboard. Next thing is, how should I be treating this business, right? You treat it like a hobby, you won't get paid. You treat it like a business, you get paid like a business. Very simple, guys. So you got to be solution oriented. You have to be self-resourceful, okay? If you're confused on something, search for the answer first. When I came in, I used YouTube for everything. I used Google for everything. You are in business for yourself, right? You're self-employed. Your upline is not your boss, right? We're here to help you, mold you, train you, turn you into a killer on these phones, right? But you have to have that sort of mentality when you come in day out on this business. You got to be on Zoom. When you're on Zoom, make sure you're working. Don't sit on Zoom laid back on social media all day. That's how you stay broke. Check the Telegram chats for the Zoom link, right? So basically, when you wake up in the morning, we're waking up, we're checking in with each other. We're making our first dial at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's just how we do it. And you got to keep your Telegram notifications on, and you got to ask for help in the Telegram chats when needed. So mastering the sales process, guys, comes from these simple things: commitment and schedule, right? Want to make a lot of money here, want to protect a lot of families, have strong commitment, have a strong schedule. Want to make a lot of money here and want to protect a lot of families, have good lead flow and a high activity level, right? So we set targets in this business, and I want to make this very clear. And this is part of the circle of life principle that we abide by here in our team. It basically goes like this: you're gonna want to be buying leads, guys, twice a week. Okay, everyone on our team, we buy leads twice a week. The average agent here is spending $500 to $2,000 a week on leads, right? And if you know what we get paid here, you'd understand that that makes a lot of sense, right? And that's pretty much all across the board. So you're gonna buy leads twice a week. You're gonna make 300 dials on your first dial session. You're going to have 2 dial sessions a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. If you're a real superstar, you're going to have 3 a day. Okay. So every dial session, guys, 300 phone calls. From those 300 phone calls, we're looking for points of contact and presentations. Okay. So when we get into a presentation with the client, that means that we went through the whole script with them. We showed them 3 options for their plan, and we asked them to buy insurance, and we are closing them down, right? That's what counts as a presentation. If you make 600 dials a day and you do 2 sessions a day, you will definitely get into the 5 presentation a day mark, right? And then if you're doing that over and over, guys, you're going to be closing, okay? You're going to be closing. And the final piece of the circle of life is making sure that you get approved business and your effective dates are early. So, John, we're going to get this policy enforced for you today. Today's the 25th, right? So, John, the first premium is going to come out within the next 1 to 3 days. It will come out on the 25th of every month, and I'll have your policy number for you in a second. Where do you currently bank, John? That's how you want to close the deal. So the premiums coming out, the clients are getting approved for coverage. And then once you close the deal, guys, you got to make a group chat with the person that you protected and the beneficiaries. If you need help with that, ask me or your uplines about the beneficiary referral play we do, which pretty much means that we review the coverage with the referrals, right? Or the beneficiaries, and we see what's going on with their coverage. So, and then we put them in a good position if we can as well. So 5 presentations a day, that's 25 presentations a week. And if you want to go fast, then move fast. Next thing here is commitment, schedule, and time sacrifice. So winners start before everyone else. That's why we make our first dial at 8 a.m. We also have a 5 a.m. club in our team, which means we're all up Monday through Friday around 5 a.m. We check in on a team chat with each other. If you want to join, get a hold of me. We're in the gym by 6. We're showered with breakfast by 7:30. We're on our first call on Zoom at 8 o'clock. That's what it's going to take to make a lot of money here and protect a lot of families and be a top producer. And put it in perspective for you this way, guys. And you want to think about the business in this regard. If you had $100,000 a year job, right? Say you just had an interview last week and they said, Steve, or whatever your name is, we're going to give you $100,000 a year salary. That's $10,000 a month, right? Roughly. But you got to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning and you can't leave till 6 o'clock at night. You know for sure that you would be up early and you would be at that job by 8 o'clock. Am I right or wrong? Right. So you have to treat this opportunity the same way because we make doctor and lawyer money here. Okay. Some of us 100, 200, 300, 400, some of them are some people are scaling over $1 million a year in income. So why would you not be on Zoom at 8, right? Why would you not be making your first call at 8? You want to catch the clients in the morning, right when they're getting ready to go to work, right? You're booking appointments, you're catching them early instead of starting at 10, 11, 12, and then you're losing track because you're starting late because everyone else is ahead of you, right? So would you be there? Yes, you would be there at 8 o'clock. So treat this business the same way, like you had a $100,000 a year salary job. Wealth first starts in the mind, right? Not in your pockets. So you want to make a lot of money, but you don't get on Zoom at 8 or 9. That's not the formula for success. You want to protect your dial hours, no social media, no distractions. When you're going through your your dial hours, make sure you put your social media apps in a different folder. Don't be getting up, going for drives, doing whatever you do. That's why we knock out the gym first thing in the morning, because that's when the winners are in the gym between 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning. What I used to do is go to the gym at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and I used to start Zoom, around 9 or 10. That's before I really started doing well in this business. So I adjusted my schedule just like I recommend everyone else does, right? And you have to protect those dial hours. And in the beginning, guys, you're going to want to work 8 to 8, right? You're going to want to work 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock into the night until you gain traction in the business and this thing starts clicking for you, right? The goal is to protect your first 20 families in your first 30 to 60 days and, stack as much money in your savings account as you possibly can, right? And then you can readjust your schedule once you get more comfortable with operating the business the right way. Be accountable on Zoom, stay unmuting, 25 presentations a week, and be unemotional with your leads. It's a numbers game. Their leads come in, you're going to go through presentations, they're going to hang up on you, they're going to tell you to stop calling. Always stay even keeled. It is what it is. It's a numbers game. All you have to do is stay consistent, and you'll eventually bump into the people that have a high need for you to set up their insurance. Okay. So let's go over lead flow and activity and system real quick, guys. So running your leads with multiple vendors, very important. I usually like to have at least 2 to 3 lead vendors, right? Alternating at all times, not just relying on one. Couple good ones going on right now is the CRM, Smart Financial. You can also run personal ads on Facebook. We also have another good vendor called Nectar. Inquire with your upline about this process and we'll be able to help you with that as well. So alternating your leads with live transfers, which once you protect 30, 40, 50 families, ask your upline about live transfers. Once you get a little bit more experience, they're a little bit more expensive, but they're live calls coming in where the clients are already inquiring. You don't have to do the outbound call. Okay, that's another ball game though. So if you find that you don't have any leads to call, it just simply means that you don't have enough leads, right? So the goal is here, right? Even if you don't make a sale this week, you still should buy leads. You still have to buy leads because that's what's going to keep your momentum going in the right direction. Also add multiple state licenses, right? And taking advantage of time zones, right? So I live in New York. If you live on the East Coast, right, in South Carolina or Florida, you can dial the West Coast in California or Arizona or Washington all the way to 11 o'clock at night, right? Because they're 3 hours behind us. So basically, if you're are on the East Coast or you're Central or Mountain Time, you're at an advantage over here because you can still tap into those time zones and work a little later if you want to. Having multiple phone numbers with Ringy and also the Burner app. So I would go to the App Store, guys, download the Burner app. You can get up to 25 different numbers, right, for each state that you're dialing into. So every time you dial a lead in a state, you're going to use the area code that the lead is in, right? So if I'm dialing a Houston lead, right, I'm going to choose my number. That's an 832 number. So when I call them, it looks like they're getting a call from Houston. Okay. You can ask your upline or teammates about that as well. And we also do the triple dialing your leads, sometimes even more, up to 4 to 5 times in a row. So in order to be successful on the telesales side of things, remember, guys, this is an art and this is a craft. So you have to dial your leads multiple times or you simply won't win here because the probability of them picking up on the first or second call is very low. We dial our leads 4, 5 times in a row here to make sure we get the point of contact. Okay. And then running your leads off budget. So you guys can also talk to me about some good credit hacks, credit tips. As a business owner and an entrepreneur, you don't want to be paying for leads and business expenses out of your own money. Every entrepreneur that's successful will tell you to leverage the power of credit. So there's a lot of good credit cards out there that we can refer you to guys to where you'll get 0% interest your first year. And that's how you scale your business by using OPM, which is other people's money, which if you guys understand business, every successful entrepreneur uses other people's money to leverage their business, but also making sure that your credit cards are paid off on time. You're earning cashback bonuses and also, points off the credit cards that you're using so you can use that on the next step. So mastering the sales process as well. This section will be going over how to close your client from A to Z. So basically, the first thing you're going to focus on when dialing a lead is perfecting the intro, right? Getting them to grab a pen and paper. Remember, you're going to be following the script. Next thing you're going to do is going over the power questions. So, hey, Mary, have been trying to get this set up for a while now, or am I the first person you're able to speak with about this? Right? Are you currently working full time? Are you retired, Mary? Who's your beneficiary going to be, Mary? And then from there, you're going to go into explaining the process, which basically says, Mary, I'm going to be, asking you a couple medical questions here, finding a plan that makes sense for you. And then we'll be submitting an application and a request for coverage and getting you approved today. Right? So those 3 parts, the intro, power questions, and explaining the process, stages the call so they know what to expect. You're going to be shooting for the 1 call close. So when you call the client, right, the goal is to get the application submitted, the client approved for coverage before you get off the phone. Don't get good at booking appointments because the probability in the telesales game for them picking up, your appointment at that time is low. We always shoot for the 1 call close. Obviously, sometimes we have to do the appointment. And then it is what it is. And that's why we use Ringy, because it's a great follow-up system. Next thing is the medical inventory and financial inventory. This is where you're going to paint the picture and actually build the value of the plan, right? So the financial inventory is the part where, you're going to figure out like if they have a mortgage, if they have a rent payment, who do they live with? What does the household inventory look like? So when Mary passes away, she has 3 children in the house. Her oldest daughter, Melissa, she's 27. She looks after the other kids, but she's not working, right? So Mary might have, put in a request to cover her funeral costs, but little does she know here that you as the agent, the better you get at the financial inventory, which is finding reasons why they need extra insurance, right? We're going to have to protect Melissa as well, making sure that she has enough money to cover the rent and the mortgage at home on top of the funeral costs, Mary, because it sounds like to me right now she relies on your income, right? So we're always going to identify the breadwinner in the household, figure out what it looks like when they pass away, who needs protection, and then we're going to pitch a plan based off those things molded all into one. So when we pitch a plan now, right? We're going to either pitch whole life or term or index universal life, whichever one we choose. Most of the time for the leads that you guys are going to be running, it's going to be a regular whole life plan and Eagle Premier, right? And you guys can watch the product video so you can get more educated on the products. But pitching a plan pretty much goes like this. So with whole life coverage, guys, this is how I explain it on the phone. So, Mary, I'm going to place you with a whole life plan here. Do you know how those work, or do you want me to explain that to you? And she's going to say, yeah, can you explain it to me? And I'll be like, yeah, perfect. So basically the way whole life works here, Mary, it's just like a savings account. So as you pay into the plan on a month-to-month basis, you'll actually build equity, like 3 to 5% interest the insurance companies typically give you on your cash value component of your policy, which is like the premiums that you pay in. Okay. You can always access, borrow, or pull against that money in the future if you need to, Mary. Okay. And then from there, you have living benefits, which means if you ever become terminally, critically, or chronically ill or sick, Mary, you can access about 50% of your death benefit early if you need to. Okay. So again, we're painting the picture, we're adding value in this piece. So on the financial inventory, we had a conversation with Mary about making sure that Melissa had enough to pay the mortgage to cover the other kids, protect the household, also covering funeral and final expenses. And then when we pitch the plan, we mold the protection so we add value and we tie it into the financial inventory. So Mary, God forbid, if you become critically ill down the road, you would be able to access about 50% of this death benefit early if you needed it to cover bills at home, or if you couldn't work, or whatever the case may be. This is how I talk to clients, okay? So follow the script, but also add value in these ways, because when you go to pitch numbers, guys, the more value you added along the process, the higher your close ratio is going to be, and the more those clients are going to stick, because you're explaining the plan, you're painting the picture, you're finding the why, the beneficiary, because that's why they filled out the request in the first place. And then the last part here is doing the application, making sure that we can get them approved for the coverage, right, before we get them off the phone. So most of the time, guys, you're going to be going with Americo first. Americo does a great job. They're our #1 company. They give us an instant decision, right? They have a great whole life plan called the Eagle Premier Whole Life Plan. It goes from 40,000, 5,000 to 40,000, right? It's for people 40 to 85. It has living benefits. It builds cash value, and it has double accidental, which means if they pass in an accident, the death benefit automatically doubles. And they also have triple indemnity for travel, which means if they pass on a train, plane, boat, or cruise, anything where they're a ticketed passenger, the death benefit would triple. And they also have a smoker advantage program. So for your smokers out there, that the premiums are going to be higher with other companies, America will give them a 3-year non-smoker rate, right? Which is going to allow them to lower their premium costs and save them money. And America is going to give this an instant decision, right? If they get denied with America, the next place you go is Prosperity, because Prosperity also gives an instant decision. Okay. And you guys will learn this as you go. Different companies have different text signatures, right? Email signatures. America, the way the client signs, you send them a text message with a 6-digit code on it. They read you back the 6-digit code. It counts as their signature. Other companies, some allow you to do an email, right? Which can be tricky with older clients. Some allow the voice signature, and like companies like Aetna, they use a security question, and the client doesn't even have to sign over the phone, right? So you guys will learn that as you go. And then the last part here is closing the deal, guys. Closing the deal, getting the client approved for coverage. Americo, Prosperity, and AIG, SIWL, are the companies that give us an instant decision, okay? They give us an instant decision, no underwriting, extensive underwriting. They're going to tell us yes or no if the client is approved for the coverage medically on the spot, okay? Next thing, next the intro. So basically my intro is a little different than the one on the script. I'll go over this with you guys real quick. So basically my intro says, hey guys, or not guys. Basically my intro is like, hey John, this is William Rapp. I'm reaching out from the final expense office here in Cook County, responding to the request you put in here for the life insurance review. You listed your date of birth down here as 1/9/1953. Is that correct? John's gonna say yes or no, right? And I'm gonna say, yeah, my name is William. I'm actually the case manager assigned to your file here through the final expense office. We're just calling to let you know that we processed that for you. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper. I'll have you write down my license information, and then we'll get everything handled for you. Okay, John? Let me know when you're ready. Boom. So John's going to go grab that pen and paper. If he says, you know, I'm not interested, you always have to go off the principle of the fact that we have to close out the file. So John, you filled this out on one of our state regulated forms. So we have to go through this with you, and I'm mandated to leave you with my license information. So it reflects on our office's end that we reached out to you. Okay, so grab a pen and paper. I'll get you off the phone here in a second. Okay. And then if he says, oh, I didn't fill that out, well, guess what? You have a couple pieces of information that you can validate because he did fill it out. Because he put, your date of birth here is 1/5/1953. Is that your date of birth, John? He's going to say, yeah, because he filled it out. He might not remember filling it out, but he did. So we have a liability to get the information out to you, John. You also listed your address here as 123 Main Street. Is that your address? John's like, yeah, that's my address, but I don't remember filling out this form. Perfect, John. Now, when you had originally requested this, did you already have a beneficiary in mind, or who were you considering protecting here? What was the main reason you put in the form initially? You could say these things to the client, right? And they're going to open up to you and say, yeah, my daughter would be my beneficiary, or da 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 da. And you're going to be like, perfect, John. Well, I have to go over this with you. We have a liability to get this out to you. Grab a pen and paper and let me know when you're ready. Okay. So every time they rebuttal you guys, there's always a way to rebuttal them back and stay in control and get them to grab that pen and paper. You have to go off principle, concept, and because we have a liability. You guys have to go into the conversation like, hey, I have a liability to go over your options with you, regardless if you want the coverage or not. You requested this on one of our state regulated forms, John. So again, my name's William. I'm going to be going over this with you. I'm the case manager on your file here with the benefits office. We got a request from you from your email here, johnsmith@gmail.com. That's your email, correct? Right. So you're just validating the info that they put and building credibility and reminding them. Now, John, did you already have a beneficiary in mind, or what was the main reason you put the request in? And he's going to be like, oh, yeah, my daughter. Perfect, John. I know you probably didn't remember filling out this request, but just grab that pen and paper. Your file's still been open with us for about a week now. Just let me know when you're ready. So it's urgency, it's directness, it's assertiveness. You have to go into the intro, right? Like a police officer, because you're in control. That's how you close telesales, right? It's not, oh yeah, well, oh yeah, you didn't fill it out. Okay, John, talk to you later. No, we have a duty to go over this information with you because, John, if you pass away tomorrow, your family's screwed, right? And that's probably the reason you filled this request out in the first place, right? Is because you were looking for some sort of coverage, life insurance. You wanted to see what your options were. Well, perfect. I'm a broker with the state. I work with a lot of different insurance companies. I'm going to be able to help you out today and hopefully get you approved for coverage. Grab a pen and paper. Does that make sense, guys? That's the type of energy you want to go into the conversation with, is principle and concept. So you're the case manager. Their file is still open. We have a state liability to get this information out to you, because if you pass away tomorrow, John, we're the ones that are held liable. Okay. So perfect your intro, right? Get them to grab a pen and paper, and then you win. So the power of asking questions. Now, power questions is the next thing you get into. Now, will this coverage be for you or your spouse as well? Right? Have you been trying to get this set up for a while now, John, or am I the first person you're able to speak with about this? Do you currently have any active life insurance in place now? We're staying in control by asking questions. Have you ever been declined for insurance before? Are you working full time? Or are you retired, John? And will you be making the final decision for yourself today? So we're staying in control. The person who asks the most questions stays in control. Okay. And then from there, while they're writing down your pen and pay your license information, guys, you're telling them, I'm going to be your agent moving forward. You send them over a copy of your license and a picture of yourself right away. Hey, John, as you're writing down my information, check your text messages. I just sent you over a copy of my state license. I also just sent you over a copy of my picture. Let me know if you received that. And then also save my number in your phone while you're at it. So, because I'm going to be your insurance guy moving forward. Okay, so once we go through the power questions, we're going to go right into explaining the process, which is like step 2 or 3 of the script on the Knockout website. Now, John, the way this works is very simple. I'm on the medical side of things. So I'm going to ask you a couple quick medical questions. That will give me a good idea of which companies will approve or deny you for coverage. My job is to find the best plan for your needs. Since I'm a broker with the state, I have access to every insurance company and plan here in the state. And once we pull up some options for you, we'll look to see which company is offering you the best rate, something that makes sense that we can both agree on. And from there, John, we're going to be submitting an application to see if we can get you qualified for the coverage today. Does that make sense? Boom. So when you go into that initial phase of the presentation, guys, who's in control? We're in control. We're not letting the client stay in control. We're dictating the course. We're telling the client exactly what's about to happen. We're going to fulfill this need today. We're going to find the beneficiary, what needs to be protected. We're going to go over your health. We're going to go over your budget. We're going to go over beneficiary, and we're going to submit a request for coverage to make sure that we can get you approved for the coverage. Okay, John? Medical inventory. Guys, also download the Slack app. Ask us to invite you to the FFL America Slack channel. There's a section in there called in-home help where you can type in all the clients, prescriptions and everything that they're going through medically, and they'll recommend a company to you based on the underwriting guidelines. That's the medical piece. Financial inventory piece is the next section when you're going through the presentation. Now, before we go into options, it's asking here to touch on your household side of things. That way we can get a good understanding of where to place you and what we are protecting here, John. So do you own or do you rent? You always want to get a good idea of how much they owe on their mortgage, how much they owe on their rent. The reason being is because if they have a spouse, right, and one of them passes away, usually in the household, the spouses contribute to the monthly mortgage or the rent. So if they put in a request to cover the funeral, but we can find additional insurance needs that they have, because if John passes away, Mary loses John's income. Now she has to cover the funeral and she has to make up for that rent or a mortgage payment, and she can't because John's was the breadwinner. Now Mary has to sell the house, and then she can't even maintain the house and take care of the kids because she's missing John's income, right? So the way you make a lot of money here, the way you do your job well, is you identify and you digest, you paint the picture, and you take your time on the financial inventory, because this is what's going to mold the plan that you're going to pitch them into their head so it makes sense, so they see value, right? And now you mentioned you're on Social Security or whatever the case may be. You can ask them, hey, does that come in on the first, the third, or the third Wednesday? And then you ask them budget questions, and you always have to ask, now the Social Security, like if they're on Social Security income, guys, do you get that on a direct express card or does it go into a bank account, right? And the reason we ask that is because some insurance applications require routing and account number. Some of them allow direct express, like Prosperity or AIG or Transamerica. Americo doesn't. Aetna doesn't. They require, routing and account number. So basically, with the financial inventory is a way for us to find a reason for providing additional insurance outside of what we were already protecting and what they put the request in for. And then basically what it means is final expense and burial costs, covering the funeral, focus on the beneficiary and what they will need, and then find other household expenses like focusing on the rent and the mortgage and student loan debt or whatever else you could find in the financial inventory section. Now, basically, as a new member here, guys, you're going to be focused more on whole life coverage. Whole life is a plan that builds cash value. Term is temporary coverage with an expiration date on it. you can get a little bit more coverage. It's a little cheaper. It's usually for younger people that just need temporary coverage, right? And then also, it's harder to qualify for medically. Index Universal Life, IULs, Infinite Banking, that's more of a higher end, higher ticket client that's looking to accumulate more cash growth in their policy for like retirement. Okay, so basically, whole life, couple key factors. It builds cash accumulation that the client can access down the road, 3 to 5% a year. They typically get on that money that they put into it. It has a guaranteed death benefit, level premiums that don't change and last their entire lifetime. It has living benefits that the client can access 50% of the death benefit if they become terminally ill or sick. And then final expenses, or just covering like a certain amount of mortgage payments, is usually the most popular reason for this plan, or replacing a spouse's income, right? So if John passes away, he brings in $1,000 a month. Now, 12,000 times 12 months, or 1,000 times 12 months, that's what Mary loses for the year from the household because John passed away. We would tack on 12,000 into the plan that we pitched them to replace John's income for at least 1 year. Okay. The better that you get at that, the better, and the more money that you'll make, in the better position you'll put the client in. Term coverage is temporary. So we use a few good carriers for these. Americo Term 100, right? And not to mention with Eagle Premier Whole Life, every company has a whole life plan. Americo Eagle Premier, Mutual of Omaha Living Promise, Aetna Ascendo, right? AIG, SIWL, American Amicable Senior Choice, to name a few for whole life coverage. For term, this is for people like usually 18 to 49, although they do go up to 75 years old. They have stricter health requirements because, they're going to give more coverage. We can go all the way up to $500,000 in coverage with our simplified underwriting applications, which don't allow the client to have to make like any doctor's office visits or draw blood or urine or anything like that. Everything we do, guys, for the most part, is simplified issue, which means when we do the application, they use the client's social to validate their health history, and they give us a yes or no decision if they can get it or not right on the spot. So Americo Term 100, CBO 100 is also another cashback term option we have, where the client can get a plan for 30 years. And if they live past the 30-year period, they can get all the premiums back that they paid into the plan. That's called an ROP, which is a return of premium. It's not guaranteed to pay out because if they live past the term, the coverage expires. Most of these policies also have living benefits. So if the client becomes critically, chronically, terminally ill, they can access that money early if they need to as well. And then Index Universal Life Plans. So these plans we do through Mutual of Omaha, the IULE, Index Universal Life Express. It's simplified issue. That's a yes or no decision on the approval. Goes up to 300,000 depending on age. It's indexed with the S&P 500. So the money that they put into it has a higher potential for growth. And when they pull that money from the plan down the road, it's a tax-free income to them. You can design these with National Life Group, with F&G. There's a couple different companies that we can use, right, to illustrate those plans with. Now, when you have questions with Ringy, your CRM, make sure you contact Ringy support. Always screenshot this. They're very good. You can call them and they will literally set up things for you from A to Z. If you guys have any questions for them, feel free to reach out to them. Now, the last part here is closing. We're going to do the intro. We're going to do the power questions. We're going to explain the process. We're going to go through medical inventory, financial inventory. We're going to pitch a plan, and then we're going to close the deal, right? Adding value is how this is done, right? You must qualify. So if they say, oh, I have to think about it. Well, listen, Mary, the insurance company also has to think about it. So we have to submit the application to see if we can get you approved, and then we'll send the policy packet out to your house to make sure that we can actually qualify you for this, because I don't want you to sit too long thinking about something you might not even be able to get, Mary. Does that make sense? Okay, let's pull up the application and get it done. Okay. The referral play is basically once you're done with the application, they get approved, we're clapping. Hey, Mary, they just approved you for the coverage. Go ahead and write down your policy details and your policy numbers, right? You want to gather those beneficiaries and their phone numbers, and you want to make a referral chat so you can touch base with the beneficiaries, go over Mary's plan with them, make sure that they have all the details, make sure that they have the policy ins and outs so they know who to contact if something happens to them, right? Or if they have, any questions, that's going to build credibility with the client. If they have an insurance need, right, you're going to be able to help them as well. And we also have a script for this on knockoutagencies.com. It's called the referral script. Okay. Now, good luck. You're your own boss. Remember, you know, use Zoom as a resource, a good resource for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and put my Instagram right here. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, feel free to reach out here. This is my Instagram right on my little screen right here on the top right. You are your own boss. Use Zoom as a resource. Use the Telegram chats to ask for help. Don't rely on just one person to help you, and download the Slack channel. 5 presentations a day, 25 presentations a week. Buy leads twice a week. 2 dial sessions a day, 300 dials a day, and go out there and crush your business, guys. It was a pleasure helping you today, and I'm excited to see where you guys are in the next 3 to 6 months. And you guys have a blessed day, and let's win. Let's get it.